I dropped small spoilers in this review. Just a warning. I have really strong opinions on Captain Marvel. Honestly, I think the movie wasn't even that bad actually. I think it was mostly pretty decent, but when one of your movies is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, then it has to have a wow factor. I have so many opinions on this movie. I expected the movie to be much better than how it really was. Some parts of the movie really drag and some parts are really entertaining, and in the final battle I was really glued to my seat. It was as good as the first trailer looked. When I watched the first trailer, I was really disappointed, but I thought, hey, maybe it would be good, but then it turned out to be as good as how I thought it was going to be when the first trailer came out. When you watch movies with Spider-Man, Iron Man, or Thor, or Captain America, you feel really attached to the screen because those characters are really interesting. Carol Danvers isn't interesting. Let's talk about the plot. The movie just jumps right into the third act right away after a whole movie of exposition and really kind of boring acts. The first act is set in space, and the first act takes way too long. But when they get to Earth, it's like a breath of fresh air because you recognize where it is and you know where she is. There wasn't even a second act or third act. There wasn't even a high climax because all the tension and stakes in the entire movie were mostly the same until the final battle. Part of what makes this movie so uninteresting is because I think a lot of people only came into the theater to find some more lore because they thought it would help prepare them or they thought it would matter in Avengers Endgame. But there is none. If you're planning to see this movie to go prep for Avengers Endgame, don't, because there is very little in the movie that pays off to Avengers Endgame. I was hyped for a movie just to see how it would connect to Endgame, and I was very underwhelmed by how much it connects. I was hoping for a character in any other MCU movie to show up other than Nick Fury because I wasn't as entertained as I wanted to be. I was entertained, but I wasn't entertained enough. The stakes are all the same for the entire movie until the last fight, with eye candy Captain Marvel shooting lasers, which was pretty entertaining, but an hour ago wouldn't have been so bad either. And now my biggest problem with this movie. Some people thought Brie Larson would be some feminist move for Marvel because she is a feminist. I was one of those people who was like, what? No way, she's an actor. She can't control the movie. And I was right and wrong. She couldn't control the movie, yeah, but somehow the movie is so obviously a feminist themed movie. Carol does so many things in this movie to wow the audience. Because of this movie, Carol Danvers is kind of a Mary Sue. She has flaws. She's not as much of a Mary Sue as Rey from Star Wars, but she is still a bit of a Mary Sue. She's so powerful and there's never a moment where she messes up on something. The studio tried to add a subplot about her being too impulsive. She's always rushing off to do missions on her own, but that subplot is literally thrown away and forgotten about, so she's still a Mary Sue. In Spider-Man Homecoming, Peter F's up and loses his suit, and it shows that he has flaws. In Iron Man 1 and 2, Tony Stark is a douchebag, and the audience is like, God damn it, Tony. Now, not all movies need to show a character's flaws, but I feel like in this movie, Captain Marvel could really benefit from it, because in Captain America, they don't show Cap's flaws, but in Captain Marvel, she's already better than Cap, and she doesn't grow. Her character development is all over the place. She doesn't have any development, there's no arc. Now back to Brie Larson. I feel like she wasn't very good in this movie. Sometimes I cringe at her dialogue, but she obviously is a very talented actress. They could have developed her to make her character more interesting, but because the MCU is very upbeat and funny sometimes, like Thor Ragnarok, the audience loves seeing Chris Pratt, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, and the three MCU Chris's return as their roles, because they look upbeat and as their characters, they kill their role. Maybe part of the problem is that Brie Larson is female, and society doesn't really see a funny character in female characters. I think the studio knew this, so they just didn't even try to make her interesting, but because they thought that society wouldn't find her funny. But they could have tried! I think Captain Marvel would be so entertaining when I think Captain Marvel would be more entertaining to watch when she's working with other MCU heroes in Avengers Endgame. Brie Larson is pretty good as the role, and Carol is being a serious character who fights, and I enjoyed watching her on screen when she was being funny and feisty.
You're not a Skrull.
That's a photon blast.
And?
A Skrull cannot do that.
Most of my enjoyment from this movie was trying to piece together how this would connect to the rest of the MCU, not from the actual movie. Brie Larson is actually as good as Captain Marvel, and she was making the script seem better than it really was because she was good and natural enough to cover up the flaws of the script. Okay, I'm done ranting on Brie Larson. There are too many moments in the movie when the character is revealed to be a Skrull. Watch the movie if you like a good time, because the movie was good except for Carol's character and plot stakes, but these don't really make the movie terrible. So if you want to have a good time, watch this movie. I'm giving this movie a 6.5 out of 10.